Hey y'all, and welcome back to another video. I know that I took last week off. I recently moved to a new apartment, so yeah, been moving, getting things put up, put away, getting all the decor up and out, things like that. But I did want to come on here and talk about Isaiah 30 and 33. I'm currently still studying the book of Isaiah. I've been studying Isaiah for months. This is my between third, fourth, and fifth time going through Isaiah just this year. There's just something that's keeping me there. But this verse stood out to me. Um, and this is why it's very important that when you study the word, that you actually look up what words mean. There's a lot of words I have to look up in the Bible. So when I study, a lot of times I'm writing down definitions, the context of how the word is being used, and what is the meaning of the scripture that it's in. So it says, for Topheth was ordained of old, even for the sovereign it has been prepared. He has made it deep and large, its fire pit with much wood, the breath of Yahuwah as a stream of burning sulfur is burning in it. So Topheth means place of fire. And so when it says ordained of old, when it says anything of old, it's talking about before the foundation of the earth, before creation. So of old means before we were here, right? Before the earth was created. It says even for the sovereign it has been prepared. So it's Yahuwah created this created Topheth, which I wholeheartedly believe is referring to the lake of fire. So it was created before creation because he knew that us as people, there would be some wicked people in this world who would never repent. He knows our life. He knew our life from beginning, right? Before he even created the earth, which is so like profound and so just amazing because how many of us have the kind of mental capacity to think about things for like over like centuries, like thousands of years? Nobody has that mental capacity to do that, right? And it's just so just astounding and wild to even think about. Like he knew, like the Earth is like what 6,000 years old, maybe. So he knew from like 6,000 years ago up until now, and going forward to however long we have left, before the Earth is completely done away with. He knew that there would be wicked people who would fill up this pit, right? It is even for the sovereign it has been prepared. There are many rulers in the world who have been, who are, and will be, who will end up in the lake of fire, right? It says he has made it deep and large. So here's the thing, if you read the word, then you know that there's going to be more people in the lake of fire than there is the remnant who are going to be in the kingdom. Now, granted, once people are in the kingdom, he's going to increase those people. Those people are going to still continue to have babies. My whole thing is, I believe that once in the kingdom, life is going to be like it was supposed to be before Adam and Eve sinned and fell from grace, right? I do wholeheartedly believe that life is going to be like it was supposed to be. And so he's still going to increase those who are the remnant, right? Who are going to be in the kingdom. However, it's only going to be a small number compared to how many people are going to be in the pit. Like if you read the book of Revelation and it talks about like a fourth of the people, then it talks about a third of the people, there's going to be billions of people in the lake of fire. And I think like a friend and I got down to there's probably only going to be 2 billion, 2 to 3 billion people who are going to be in the kingdom out of 8 billion people that are currently on this earth. Y'all, that pit is huge. And now, granted, that's 8 billion people currently on the earth. that's not including the people who have died over the past 5, 6,000 years. Like there's more than that, right? Because if you think about it, I said like 2 to 3 billion will go into the kingdoms. Let's just say 3 billion, right? That leaves 5 billion people who are going to be in the pit, right? And then that's not including like I said, the people who have already died over the past like 5, 6,000 years. That is huge. He knew before he even created the earth, right? That there are going to be a lot of people in the pit than in the kingdom. And I just think that is beyond my comprehension, beyond my absolute comprehension, right? And so then it says, it's fire pit with much wood, the breath of Yahuwah as a stream of burning sulfur. And a friend brought this up to me. He said that think about Sodom and Gomorrah when sulfur, right? Sulfur, I think it was sulfur and brimstone rained down from the heavens, from Shemayim, right? And so, what if that was the breath of Yahuwah? Like his breath is like so scorching hot. And if you think of um, like sulfur rocks, it burns blue, I believe. It melts the skin off, right? Think of his breath is like that. That is just so crazy because if you think about the wind, how hard the wind blows, think of like a tornado or like a windstorm. I live in Houston and we had last year in, I think it was May or June, Hurricane Beryl, but it was a windstorm, right? Wasn't really much water damage, but a lot of wind damage. I can't even imagine, Yahuwah blowing, his breath, and it's like a stream of fire. Think of like a dragon, but more so like not even a dragon. Think of like a volcano. When a volcano erupts and the lava comes down the mountain, think of that like being Yahuwah's breath, a stream. It's coming down the mountain, but it's moving faster like a stream of water. Like that is, again, beyond my comprehension. Okay? And I'm like, this one verse has brought all of this out, right? And it says, is burning in it. The breath of Yahuwah as a stream of burning sulfur is burning in it. It is burning in the lake of fire. So he breathed his breath into the lake of fire, and that fire came from him, right? When he created this before like the foundations of the earth, like he knew that there was going to be a pit, right? He knew this. He knew he was going to create a pit. There's going to be all these people in there, and it's just been sitting there, like it says. Um, it was ordained, and even for the sovereign, it has been prepared. It's been sitting there waiting to be filled. But the first people who are going to be in it, of course, are Satan and the false prophet and the Antichrist. They're all going to be in there first, right? They're going to be thrown in first, and then the rest of the people who their destination is the lake of fire are also going to be thrown in there. Like y'all, that is just it's it's mind boggling sometimes when I read the word because it's just like these verses I come across and it's just little verses, that pack such a punch because a lot is being said in just this one verse or just in however many verses. But it's like it's so much being said and so much can be said about it. And it's like it makes me think we cannot ever comprehend Yahweh and the way that he thinks, and we can never actually know him, like know him, right? We know his character, right? But we don't know how he thinks. We don't know the plans that he has. Only he knows. He and he alone only knows the plans that he has for all of us. The plans that he has for the messengers, the angels, right? The plans that he has for just everything. We can never comprehend that. And to see this right here, for Topheth was ordained of old. Even for the sovereign, it has been prepared. He has made it deep and large. Its fire pit with much wood, right? A lot of wood. So it's going to continue to burn. right? And that's also the thing. It's been burning this whole time, and it will never be doused. Think about that. The people who are going to end up in the lake of fire are going to burn for all of eternity. They're never going to die. They're going to be in turmoil and be tormented and just on fire, skin burning, probably peeling off over and over, and it will never stop, right? It's been burning this whole time. Like, can y'all, like, that's just wild. So wild to me. But yeah, that was, yeah, yeah. It's it's wild. I just don't even know. Like, and there are so many verses that are like that that just have me sometimes just stumped and sometimes just completely speechless, because it's like when you read this word, you don't hear about stuff like this in church. You will never hear about stuff like this in church because they refuse to read the prophets. Y'all, I highly, highly, highly recommend reading the prophets. It is extremely important. It would behoove you to read the prophets because there's so much information there. Like I said, I've been stuck in Isaiah for months, and I don't think I'm ever going to not read it. You know, it's one of my favorite books of the Old Testament. Um, and I've been in the Old Testament for, listen, the better part of a year. I just cannot move forward to the New Testament because there's so much in the Old Testament that it's just like, it's preparing, right? Like a lot of the prophets, especially Isaiah, yes, he prophesied about things that were happening at the time, but most of what he prophesied about are things that are going to happen in the end times, right? And this is part of it. Like this place, this lake of fire, this pit has been there since the beginning of time. And it's going to be there well after the end of time. Just waiting. It's sitting there burning and waiting. The flames waiting, right? And the fact that it says it's like a stream, because it's called a lake of fire, it's going to be like water. Like the fire is going to be like streaming like water, not like fire, like flames. It'll probably be, like I said before, like lava. Just think of like a stream of lava, but moving a little faster. But yeah, y'all, I got excited and I wanted to share that because I shared that with a friend of mine, and he was like blown away just as much as I was. And I was like, I have to share this with y'all. So that's all I have for y'all.